Hello and welcome to Stubtown, PSU TV's review show. Today, we're talking Suicide Squad.
Oh, puddin'.
Puddin'.
I want to build a team of some very bad people who I think can do some good.
You don't own me.
Y'all jokers must be crazy.
I'm not just one of your many toys.
What?
Don't tell me what to do.
This is the deal. You disobey me, you die.
So, talking about Suicide Squad. First, I guess we should get a little bit of a plot synopsis, a little bit of an overview.
Jesus.
Who wants to do an overview? Molly? Tark? Yeah?
I'll do an overview.
Okay.
Okay, so bad people in prison. Lady goes, hey, you need to work for us. They're like, nah. She's like, no, I put chips in your neck. And they're like, oh, guess we gotta.
Because
Yeah.
they have to. Yeah.
Yep, and then they do. And
They fight a generic blue bolt in the middle of the city going to the sky. And it's more fun than it should be. And they realize they're a family
They
at
have
the last
goodness
second.
in their hearts, and they ride off into the sunset.
Okay.
Pretty sure that's what happened.
Pretty sure.
it's just such a silly movie to try and break down because the whole
Yeah.
plot was so contrived the entire time.
I really think that this is one of those instances of actor charisma just trumping plot.
Absolutely.
Like, everything I enjoyed about this movie had almost nothing
And
to
really
do.
bad dialogue.
Yeah, had absolutely nothing to do with the dialogue, which was some of the worst I've ever
Some of the worst dialogue I've heard in a very long time.
but it trumped dialogue, trumped plot, because the plot really it doesn't make much sense and really isn't that satisfying overall. But these actors are just, you can tell they're having so much fun.
Yeah.
I forgot how much fun Will Smith could be.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh,
true.
man,
Because what has
like-
he been in recently besides this?
What, After Earth?
Oh God, yeah. Let's not talk about that. Okay.
Cypher Rage.
Oh,
No, he's been doing like serious stuff like 7 Pounds or
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was a long
that
time
was
ago.
not at all
Ali.
recent.
Ali, which was like 15 years ago.
Also a while
No, I
ago.
know. I don't know what he's been doing lately.
Yeah, but he was good
This
in
is
this.
what
I would
IMDb is for.
say that Will Smith was the best part of this movie and his character Deadshot.
I mean, it's him or Margot Robbie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Margot
Him or
Robbie,
Margot
not her
Robbie's
character.
ass.
Yeah, the
Not-
actress for sure.
Yeah, not the way they did Harlequin. I was not super satisfied with. Margot Robbie is funny, and she's a good actress, but her character was terrible, and she just felt like an annoying like sex symbol, and that didn't seem right to me for Harley Quinn.
No, that's pretty spot on for Harley Quinn. She's always had this problem, right? Where, like, she originally started out as very much a sub-character of the Joker, right?
Yeah.
She wasn't in. She was brought in from the animated series Batman, not even in the comics. Like, she was introduced there, and because DC has so few like female heroes or well-known female characters, they've been trying to make her this powerhouse ever since. And it's problematic. It's just never worked.
But in the comics, she wears a jester hat. Like, how is that like sex symbol at all?
No,
In the
in-
movie, she's wearing like pigtails and. Yeah, that's true. I guess it depends
Yeah.
on the kink. But in this movie, she's got like pigtails and like underwear.
But that's the thing.
Tights.
That's the thing.
it.
She has that clown costume in the animated series, but in the comics, and ever since Arkham Asylum, the video game,
Yeah.
they've been moving her closer and closer towards that like really stripped down sex symbol aesthetic.
Yeah, they just cut her costume in half.
Have you ever played Arkham Asylum?
Mm-hmm.
That's where that thing with the pigtails with the colors started.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
So it's
All right.
yeah, the characters evolved a lot in a weirdly amount of time, but they haven't quite figured out what her final form should
Yeah,
sort of
apparently
look like.
Margot Robbie hated that costume.
Barely a costume.
yeah, it's true.
It must have been cold.
It must have been
Yeah,
cold.
seriously.
And I mean, it looked like the only thing they spent money on were the shorts. But I mean, if you're gonna,
Yeah, those 15 plus butt shots.
yeah, I mean, yeah, if you're gonna focus that much on a costume piece, I guess you want it to.
Oh God.
All right, so let's do some like other positives. So it's like Will Smith is fun and charismatic to watch again. It's great to have him back in a movie. Margot Robbie sells it, even though it's
I mean,
Basically just because
They
she's
had the
gorgeous.
most chemistry of like any of the Suicide Squad in
Really?
general.
Those
Well,
two?
who did you?
Versus who else?
I honestly thought none of them
Just
did
wondering.
at
Oh.
all.
Well, I mean,
if anyone did, it was them. I mean,
she
I
said
guess
she
that's
said
true,
the
but-
best. So it's like a race.
I
It's
guess
easy
that's
to win.
Yeah.
true. That's
And
true, yeah.
they had. I mean, like they had the most. And none of them were fleshed out. But if anyone had something approaching that, it was the two of them.
That's true, but I feel like what sells that is the actors, because they've worked
yeah.
together
Oh,
before.
they definitely sell it.
They've worked together before, and like they play well together, but the like dialogue and plot and like what they actually, there's no reason for them to be friends. Absolutely none.
None
Oh,
of them.
There's
agreed.
no motivation for
Agreed.
any of the characters' relationships.
Nope.
Yeah.
Especially not theirs.
It's not a
And
lot of
this
it.
is the spoiler-free section, so I won't go into any
Oh
specifics.
yeah.
But it just,
The third act falls apart a bit.
I think the first act was like cheesy, but like set my expectations pretty high. It did the whole, okay, so we're gonna introduce each of these characters in their prison cells, and they're gonna seem all bad guyish and cool, and then it would cut to the rest of the story. But then it felt like the movie just fell off its horse in the second act.
Yeah.
It just felt like it was a bunch of the same, like jokes and gimmicks until the movie just started making less and less sense, and I was just throwing my arms up in the air like why is this happening? There's no motivation for any of this.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Would you say that's fair? That the
I
plot wise
I
it?
think that's fair.
Yeah.
They just wanted to put these characters and like shake them up in a snow
Mm.
globe and make them do stuff, and they're like, well, we couldn't really write the script to go with it, but it, let's have fun.
Exactly. I mean, that's exactly
Well,
how it went.
And I think like, because to me this feels a lot like a B movie or like a cult classic sort of thing, where it's
yeah.
so unself-aware that it's hilarious. Like
That's true.
The music especially, music in this movie
Well,
is.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, I turned to you halfway, and I was like, this is the stupidest movie I've ever seen, and I love it.
Yeah. It was just.
Yeah.
It felt like they finished a movie that was decent, and it was probably like 2 hours and 40 minutes long. And then Zack Snyder came in with a pair of scissors, and a team of producers was like, nope, nah, we don't need that. No, actual character development? Nah, we don't need that. Motivation? Nah, we don't need
No,
that.
we need a shot
Keep all
of that.
those slow-mo shots in. though.
Yeah, oh,
we
you
need
to
a
keep that.
helicopter flying down to the streets, firing off flares for no reason.
Yeah, like what?
I don't think it's a spoiler to say there are 3 helicopter crashes in this movie.
Yeah, that's not really a spoiler.
And,
That's just funny.
and one of them has no bearing on the plot whatsoever. It just happens. Everyone gets up and goes, "Well, that was crazy," and then
Oh yeah,
and
that's
just
right.
like
Yeah, seriously. Like, the like helicopter hits the ground, tumbles, Harley Quinn
As far
gets
as
out.
we
What a
know,
ride!
That's how
Yeah.
military helicopters land.
they just roll, and then you
Just
get out, and you're like, "That was
crash and
fun."
everybody
That's
gets
why
out.
the military budget's so high. Every time a
gotta keep
helicopter
getting
takes
to it.
off, it gets destroyed. It's kind of bunk landing process.
I think that sums up a lot of the things about this movie.
Yeah.
The movie is like an unnecessary helicopter crash. You're like, why did that
One
happen?
after the other.
Yeah.
Oh, that scene where the Enchantress's brother stands in the subway. That's what I felt like. That's what the movie was doing to the audience. Like, it's just ramming right through you, and you're just like,
Yeah,
either you're gonna go with it
seriously.
or you're just gonna like get crushed, pretty much.
Yeah, I will say that sequence when he, I guess that's a spoiler section thing.
Sorry.
No, it's my thing. Not
Go.
you're fine.
Okay.
You're not. No, but let's see. What are some other? Oh, I want to talk about the music real quick because the music is insane in this movie. They keep bringing in like pop songs that like the lyrics directly describe something that's happening on the screen. And then as soon as that lyric is over, the song like turns off. Like, oh, did you get it? We played that song there because it makes direct contextual sense lyrically. Not even necessarily musically or mood-wise. It's lyrically driven, which makes it feel so on the
Yeah, I didn't
nose
even
and
notice
goofy.
that.
Oh, dude, rewatch it. It will make you laugh so
Oh,
hard.
I don't know if I want to rewatch it. I didn't really have a good time. I mean, the best time I had in the theater was laughing at some of the silliest moments.
Oh, that's the spirit of how you need to
That's-
watch
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, just
I-
like,
Sorry, go ahead, Molly. What
Nope.
were you gonna say?
That's it.
No.
I agree.
It's definitely the spirit, I think, to get the most enjoyment out of this movie. If you're going in expecting like this to be like DC finally gets it right, oh my gosh, this movie is the best DC movie
is it?
because I didn't walk out like active rage post Snyder. Sorry, best
Okay.
DC Snyderverse movie. Like for me, it was
Okay.
better than Man of Steel, and it was better than Batman v Superman. Just on the merit that I didn't walk out just enraged. I was more like
Yeah.
confused and like. amused. Like I was generally.
Honestly, I think the reason behind that though is you're a big fan of the comics. Like you know the comics really well. I don't.
Not DC.
Not DC.
No,
Yeah, I'm sure you know DC better than I do. I don't know
Yeah.
anything
Like,
really about the comics.
I've read some Superman comics. I haven't read a lot of Batman comics. I've read a few, but not a lot.
Okay.
But overall, my biggest problem with the other movies isn't so much the characterization; it's the manipulative nature of Zack Snyder's attempt at filmmaking and how
Yeah.
it's childish and doesn't really pay off a lot. The Nerd Writer has that great video about how Zack Snyder concentrates on moments more than scenes.
Yeah, very true.
Like that summed up a lot of how I felt about Snyder movies. So go check that out if you haven't. It's the Nerd Writer on YouTube. If you just Google his page or look it up, it's real easy to find. But it's also that he took these characters that are supposed to be like hopeful and turned them into weird psychopaths. that was my biggest problem with Snyder's approach. And I felt like this movie, and it's funny because this movie is actually about psychopaths, and they're somehow more charismatic and relatable.
Yeah! Like, what the hell? I did not buy for a second that any one of them were villains. Not a second. If I had a dime for every time they said, we're the bad guys, I would have
man.
walked out of that movie theater and made a profit.
I kept turning
Like-
I kept turning to Molly and going like this every time something was so on the nose about what was happening.
But we're the bad guys. People
The
don't
guy-
like us.
they hate us.
But we're a family.
You gotta own it. Oh yeah.
Are you the devil?
Are you? Oh man, that was as bad as the Watchmen. Are you a god?
Oh, yeah.
It's like it's a man in an owl costume. What the?
Get it yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. What was the woman's name? Her character who banded them all together?
Waller?
Waller. Yeah,
Don't know what
she
her
was the
first name was.
evilest one of them all.
Yeah,
right?
which
and
I-
they touch on that.
Yeah, they're definitely going thematically for some sort of like Big Brother is evil thing with Waller's character.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, on the nose, because like
Yeah.
I think they could have left it much more ambiguous, but there's a few scenes
They
where they're
could've.
like, no, she's the bad guy.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I kind of thought that
Well,
already.
really-
But.
Oh well, no, I'll save that for the spoiler section.
Yeah.
But they pulled a Dark Knight Rises and totally caught us off guard with who the actual villain is, but not even in like
I-
a clever way.
You were caught off. I wasn't caught off guard.
Well, from the
Oh,
marketing of the movie, again,
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know
This
anything
isn't a
about
spoiler,
the comics.
yeah.
Yeah, from the marketing of the movie, it really seemed to me and a lot of my friends that like the Joker was going to be the villain. Like it was going to be. That's what it really is played up to seem like in the marketing with like the commercials and everything. Like
Yeah.
the Joker's going to be the villain.
Which we should probably like the Joker is not a major character in this
Not at
movie.
all. No. Joker maybe has like 4 or 5 scenes with dialogue.
Yeah, and they don't really contribute a whole lot to the
Nothing.
movie.
The entire point of the Joker in this movie is to contribute as much as they tried to Harley Quinn's character development, which was barely even there.
Character development.
Oh my god! I don't even know if this is a spoiler, but when she's sitting on the car,
Yeah,
and then Will
that's a
Smith's
spoiler.
like, okay.
Yeah. Oh,
It's just like one little moment where she's like sitting on the car, and then Will Smith like picks her up, and then puts her down.
Yeah.
Like for no reason.
Well, I mean,
Ah.
I think there was a reason. It's just a goofy on the nose.
She can't get off the car. or
No. It's like because she's.
Clearly not.
We'll talk about it in the spoiler section,
Okay,
but it's
yeah.
that she's like sad and
Herself a
trying to
massive
mask it,
wedgie if she
Okay.
tries to
and
say that.
he notices.
he picks her up.
Yeah, he like notices that she's sad, but they can't be all like, because they're the bad guys. Yeah, dude, on the nose. Like, so he picks her up to comfort her for a second, but then he puts her down really fast because like they're bad guys. That's like the movie though. The movie's so goofy. Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't.
They're one
I
big
didn't
happy
hate it.
family.
I didn't hate it because it was so dumb. Like you just, it's like a.
Yeah, you can't really take it
Yeah,
seriously.
it's like a puppy dog or something. Like you
Yeah.
want to be mad at it because it peed on the rug, but oh my god, you're so
Yeah.
dumb and silly.
It's like cute cat videos shouldn't have 200 million views on YouTube. But look at it, it's so cute. Yeah.
Which is so weird to talk about the guy who did Fury and then be like, he's like, his movie was so dumb.
Yeah. Man.
All right. Let's see. Any other thoughts before we?
Yeah. What other spoiler-free thoughts can we?
I have a feeling we're just gonna go crazy in the spoiler section. So
Yeah, as
well, let's-
always, that's kind of a common theme with this
Yeah.
show.
So let's go ahead and we'll do recommends, don't recommends, real quick, and then we'll move on to spoiler section.
All right.
Molly, you want to start us off with just recommend, not recommend, and then a little breakdown of why?
Regarding what specifically?
Just the movie.
The movie,
Would you,
just
would you
Suicide
go
Squad.
see
Would you
it?
go see it? Would you recommend? Or why? Or yeah.
start.
All right, try and start.
I'll start. I'm just gonna say a big old would not recommend. This was I was just throwing my out. The only real parts I laughed at were parts that weren't supposed to be funny. Will actually got mad at me and Zach because we were just laughing in the theater at the dumbest things, and yeah, it was just painful to sit through. I was throwing my arms up like, why is this happening? What's the motivation behind this? The entire time until it finally ended and I walked out just frustrated. And like, again, I don't know anything about the comics. I was just frustrated about how the movie was paced and how it was laid out. It was just bad. I did not like it. Would not recommend.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Molly, recommend, not recommend?
I would recommend this movie because it's a really bad movie, a really fudging bad movie, and I fudging loved it. And it's a train wreck, and it's delightful. The most delightful train wreck I've ever seen. And I want people to go in, and I want them to experience that horrible dialogue, everything not making sense, and just kind of like enjoy the characters and the actors that make them charismatic. Some of them not so much, but it's okay. They give them less attention and backstory anyway because they know which ones are good and bad.
Yeah, nobody cares about Australian Boomerang.
Boomerang, yeah. They're like, certain events, they're like, we don't get to see what he wants.
We don't really care. I would have to go with a recommend as well, but also in that spirit of like, I honestly think it would be best to wait to see it until it comes out on DVD.
So you don't pay $12.
Well, I mean, so you get it on DVD, get a group of friends, and then just sit there and rip it apart and laugh and have a good time the whole time you're watching it. Because I really feel like that's the best way to get the most enjoyment out of this movie. And like, I did walk out of the theater feeling good. Like, I was genuinely amused by so much of it, and I had a good time. But that doesn't mean it was a good movie. It was not a good movie. But I do recommend it. So, on that note, we're going to move over to the spoiler section. We hope you join us there. Yeah.